I'm Judith Timms, and I'm introducing the Rights Idea video, which has been produced by NIAS, the National Youth Advocacy Service, NACS, National Association of Contact Centres, and the University of Exeter Law Faculty as a joint project. And this video records a year in the life of Tom, a young man whose parents have separated. He tells his story over the year, and it also covers what happens to a younger child, Rosie, whose parents go to a contact centre to help resolve their difficulties, and Chloe, whose parents choose the court route. But mainly it focuses on Tom. It was produced as a spin-off of the Family Solutions Group work, which some of you will remember. The report of the Family Solutions Group, What About Me, was published last November 2020. And in that report, it became very obvious as we looked at it that there were very, very few direct services for children and families, very few direct services, particularly for children and young people whose parents were separating. And one of the core recommendations of that report was that there should be established a framework of Article 12 compliant services of information, consultation and representation available to children when their parents separated.
Then we go to this.
If we look at this slide, it divides children into 4 cohorts. And it divides above the line into those children whose parents are going to court, and below the line, the children whose parents aren't going to court. So if we look at we're looking at which children get information, which children get information and consultation, and which children are separately represented. So we're seeing what the structure is of what's available to them at the moment, and it will give us some indication of where we've got to go in the future. So on the bottom line, cohort 1 in the purple, 280,000 children annually have parents who separate. That's in the UK. And all of those children need universal services of accurate, age-appropriate information and signposting to support services. All of those children will need that. We then move to the next cohort, who are the children and young people whose parents aren't going to court, they're going to mediation. And in 2018-19, that was an estimated 27,750 mediations about children, and an estimated 3,200 children in England and Wales chose to meet the mediator for direct consultation. And that's a small number really in comparison with, it's a big drop from information, if you like, to consultation and support, because we're only looking at 3,200 children in England and Wales who were given that opportunity, which very much depends on the permission of their parents, even though they do have a right under Article 12 of the UNCRC. It's a freestanding right to be consulted when decisions are being made about their future. And I think that's something to bear in mind when you're, if you like, talking to parents about allowing their children to be consulted, facilitating their children to be consulted. And then above the line, we're looking at children whose parents go to court. And we're looking at cohort 3, which is all the children who go to court in England and Wales in 2019, and that was approximately 67,763 children. And they would maybe be the subject of a safeguarding review by CAFCAS, but that is telephone, if you like, telephone safeguarding process in which the information is provided to the parents, provided by the parents about the children, and there isn't any direct consultation with children. Some of those children would be the subject of a CAFCAS report, and the family court advisor would prepare a report for the court, and those children would be consulted and would have hopefully would have direct face-to-face interviewing with the Kafkas Family Court Advisor. But of course, with COVID, those numbers may be very much diminished because of the problems of the pandemic. So we've really been on hold for the past year. So although these figures are for 2018-19, I don't think there's been very much change or very much progress over the period of the pandemic. So if we look at cohort 4 then, this is this very small number of the total 280,000 children whose parents separate, who achieve, if you like, who are separately represented, who have both a solicitor and a social worker to represent their interests in court. And they are parties to proceedings just as their parents are parties to proceedings, and they are made parties under Rule 16.4 of the Family Proceedings Rules 2010. So that's where we are with a progress report on how far we have gone at the moment towards implementing that framework of support services for children. You see there's a long way to go. So if we decide to make a start on provision of information, where's the best place to start? Well, the best place to start is in schools, where children can access information in a non-stigmatizing way. The Rights Idea video will be introduced into schools probably as we speak. It's being introduced in this academic year as part of the DFE curriculum, PHSE curriculum on relationships and sex. And earlier this year we submitted the Rights Idea video to both the PHSE Association and Association of Citizenship Training for accreditation to be used in schools, and they are prerequisites for schools to have access to those resources and to roll them out in schools. So we were very, very pleased that we received accreditation from both the PHSE Association and ACT. And those videos, the Rights Idea video, will now be available to Key Stage 3 and 4 children in secondary schools. However, in thinking about it and people having seen the video, mediators and solicitors looking at it since it's been produced, it has actually been disseminated very widely, and other family court professionals are finding it useful, which is why we're showing it today, because we feel that it might be useful to mediators and solicitors in this audience who are working with parents and who are wanting to focus them at an early stage on the interests of their children and trying to get them to think about the needs of their children, and if you like, familiarise them with the right of the child to accurate information and consultation and representation to help the children feel less powerless in their situation. And so that's why we're showing it today, and we hope that you'll watch the video now and that there may be some questions and maybe some discussion about how useful it might be in your practice in encouraging people, parents, to focus on the needs of the children at an early stage and contribute to the agenda which we all want of diverting cases away from court proceedings. Thank you very much.